what I got for you tonight is the framework, really the framework that I believe is the key ingredient to creating that bigger ticket. And it's not done in a way to where you have to sell people or close people or convince people. It's done in a way to where you can be the expert, to where you can be the professional. We're not just talking about our sales process. We're talking about the whole thing: business, marketing, everything that is involved in that, production, how we do what we do. Not only that, how we convert what we do. And we're going to get all into that. But customer experience raises your ticket average. And really quick on that, the customer experience raises your ticket average in so many different ways. But not only that, experience raises your ticket average. And again, I don't care what you do. If it's plumbing, if it's roofing, if it's HVAC, if it's nails, if it's haircuts, if it's a realtor, no matter what it is, customer experience trumps all day long, no matter what you do, because there's I think it's a reciprocal effect. We'll get into that. You'd be shocked. I got 3 things we're going to cover tonight, but you'd be shocked how the third one really ties back into the first one, and it creates a cycle. I can't wait to get into it, because it's once you get it, once it clicks, it's amazing. Because tonight we're talking about way more than just plumbing. Tonight we're talking about way more than just sales. Tonight, in fact, we're talking about way more than just business. We're talking about the psychology of people and how all this thing works together, how it all flows. Make no mistake, the set was set up specifically tonight with that in mind. I wanted you to understand the principles. We got always be closing over here. I don't know. This is kind of just for fun. This was a gift from Plumbing Tech. This was a gift from Plums Up. I love both of you. Got both their hats on the set tonight. Plumbing Tech's right here. Plums Up's right up here. You guys, you're killers. Love you. Hey, tonight we're going to be breaking this stuff down, and I got this sign I've dug out. We dug out from the storage bin, and we got a lot of collectibles back there. We've been doing this for a little while now, and I've got this bad boy. And I remember this is kind of the mantra. This is your mantra. This is really for you. You're a service expert, and you serve your customer, you serve your company, and you serve your community. One relationship's all it takes. And the idea is that one relationship, just establishing one successful story, one review, so to speak, on Google, but one successful story, one successful testimony out into the community, and people hear about that, and all of a sudden word gets out that you're worth doing business with. And that's how a lot of businesses grow. That's how businesses grew back in the day. Yeah, look, I'm telling you guys right now, this whole thing that we're talking about tonight is literally the secret key ingredient to the whole thing. I want you to think about the big names, the big companies that you've experienced this with, times in your life where you're willing to pay a little bit more. It's a commodity driven world, and a lot of times we argue on that principle and we live on that principle, but it doesn't have to be like that. It could be a service driven world. It could be a world where the customer experience trumps all. I often talk about this all the time. We go to Disney World a lot. We're going to be going back down there here in a week, and we're going to be spending some time down there. And every time I go down there, I'm amazed by, even when you're in line, even when you're standing in their queue, even when you're waiting to do the thing that you want to do, there's always some sort of entertainment. There's always some sort of consideration to the ambiance, the surroundings, whatever's around you. And it's really crazy when you think about how much effort and energy is put into the trash cans and the lighting and the sounds and the fake smells and all the things that they do to enhance your experience while you ride a ride, or while you do whatever you do, while you live in nostalgia land, while you go back to your childhood. Look, I'm telling you right now, this whole thing that we're going to break down tonight is really more about humans, more about people, but it is the fundamentals of business. Okay, so we're going to break down 3 things to you guys tonight, because when it comes to providing a customer experience, it's not limited to just like this one area of the experience the customer has. In fact, I want you to think about customer being on a customer journey. I'm sure some of you have heard that before. If not all of you have heard that before, this term customer journey. If you've never heard it before, customer journey is simply you as a business owner understanding and thinking through the journey, the path that the customer goes down as they interact with your brand or service, your product. So for plumbing, it would be simply, they see a brand, they see a van wrap, they see a yard sign, they see an ad, they see something, and at that point in time, they don't necessarily do anything, but a little bit later in life, they wake up and they have a plumbing problem, they come home to a plumbing problem, and they immediately call a plumber, and then in that case, they either remember a brand, or they've seen a brand around town or in their neighborhood, because those companies are doing a good job branding themselves, and so then they make the phone call, then they interact with a CSR, that's part of the customer journey, then they get on the schedule, then they get maybe a text message from your service, from your field management software, or something saying the text on the way, or maybe a phone call, that's another touch in the customer journey, and then the service plumber gets out there, interacts with the customer, writes options, delivers, all that's part of the customer journey, so forth and so on, all the way to the end, And hopefully that never ends. Hopefully that journey continues on and on and on because you're doing things like follow-ups and whatnot. All right, three areas that we really need to fully understand and wrap our minds around when it comes to this idea of business and raising our ticket average, whether it be running the business or running a service call or selling a product service of any kind, okay, any kind of transaction. This is the 3-step plan. So the first one is you've got to do marketing. You've got to convert the call. Make the phone ring. You've got to do marketing. You got to make the phone ring. Okay, you got to make the phone ring. You got to make the phone ring. You got to make the phone ring. I think this is where a lot of people going into business misunderstand how important this step is and how hard this step is. And so they end up going into business and not realizing like, oh man, I can plumb, I can roof, I can do whatever. I can do haircuts. I'm a good realtor. But man, it's really hard to make that phone ring. It's really hard to get leads. Okay, type amen in the comments if you've ever experienced that. Okay, making the phone ring is this secret thing that no one ever talks about. She says amen. Now, the customer needs to have an experience. There's a couple things that you need to take away from marketing. We're not going to talk about it from the traditional old Google SEO, put your brand out there, run ads. We're not talking about that. Here's what we understand from the customer experience, from the customer journey. Remember, the customer's on a journey. Okay, they're experiencing your brand, product, or service before they ever experience you. Okay, whether that be they use a different plumbing company or they use a different roofing company or they use a different electrical company or they use a different, realtor and they have a bad experience, that puts a ding on the trade. It puts a ding on the industry you're in. For the home services trades, it can put a ding on your industry, even though it was a different trade. Like meaning someone can have a bad experience with lawn care, pest control, something like that. And then when you as a plumber, you as an HVAC, or you as a whoever go out, they have a negative attitude already towards you. And you're like, I didn't even do anything. But the marketing experience can have an effect on them as well. Meaning, did they find you with a really cheap ad? Did you run one of them $29 or free ads? Because you might attract a certain kind of person with a certain kind of thinking on a certain kind of path. It really is important on how you market and how you determine who you're going to market to, because it sets the person that has to go in and deal with the human that has the problem. It sets them up for failure or success depending on how that marketing goes, that journey and how that starts. So you got to protect the experience, not only that they have while they're doing the marketing, but you also got to protect the experience in the sense of their mentality and pre-framing what they're about to experience when it comes to sending someone out of there, coming into your store, whatever it is that you do. When you think about that from a bigger perspective, it's like, okay, I don't only just have to get their attention, be disruptive, be sticky, be consistent, all those things when it comes to marketing. I don't just have to do SEO marketing, Google marketing, get reviews, yard signs, depending on what I do for a living, what I do for a trade, what I do for a service. But I also have to consider the fact this is going to set the customer down a mental journey, maybe even a physical journey. And if it's like, sale, you're going to attract maybe a cheaper or someone who's looking to do business more along the lines of a commodity and deal. And so you just got to think about how you're promoting and how you're value stacking and how you're casting that. Are you coming in at just the cheapest thing ever? Now, look, I'm a big fan of discounting down maintenance things, but don't discount down your services in relationship as it relates to that repair option, that first kind of minor option, that more expensive option. I always attribute it to this concept of like pricing strategy when it comes to the convenience store versus the grocery store versus Costco. So like if you're just going to do like convenience store amount of volume shopping with me or business with me, you're going to get that more retail rate. If you do business with me more on like a grocery store level, like maybe you're buying 12 packs instead of singles, you're buying like, loaves of bread instead of just a piece of bread. Maybe you're buying the whole what do you call it? A bundle, bushel, bananas. A thing, what do you call that? I don't know, whatever you call that. Figure, versus one. I don't know, whatever you call it. Bushel of apples. Yeah, I still don't know. So either way, you think about this, it's like volume. And then if you go to Costco, instead of buying a gallon of milk, you get the cow. Like I'm willing to work something out with you if you're willing just to buy the whole cow. And all of this stuff is true. You think about a lot of other industries, a lot of other businesses. And it's how people are used to buying. It's how people are used to shopping. And so when you think about marketing, what path, what journey are you sending them down? What are you doing? Is it half price toilets or is it buy 2 toilets, get 1 free? Because the second one rings, even though they're both big discounts, the second one doesn't come across cheap. The second one requires them to spend some money before they get any kind of deal, before they get any kind of savings. The first one is you just get deal straight up. And that's different. That's going to position things and pre-frame things different. If the customer doesn't have an amazing experience on the front end, it's going to be a lot harder on the back end. It'd be kind of like taking someone into a fine dining restaurant, but you take them to the back, through the kitchen. First place you take them to is where the dishwasher's at. Let's go by the grease trap first. Let's swing by there. Let's go by the grease. Let's go by the dishwasher. Let's go by the trash bin. Then let's come in through the back. Then it's going to go into the front. Let's go sit down at the really nice front end. $76 for Wagyu for Wagyu. That's 3 ounces. If you want it, maybe for the fillet. Look, at the end of the day, it's all about how that customer experience goes, and it's going to be from beginning to end. Okay, it's going to be from beginning to end. I see a lot of amens from what I said earlier. In marketing, what gives you the most touches? Well, a lot of people would say, a lot of experts would say, a lot of marketers would say, I would say that a van wrap is the number one way to get right now to get the best bang for your buck when it comes to getting impressions, touches, and presenting yourself. And that was actually when the article, I don't know, what article everyone refers to or what study they're talking about, but the one that I read was actually about coffee delivery. And it was talking about this, but it rings true for home services. It rings true for pretty much just about anything. In fact, if you can get a really unique custom vehicle out there and wrap it and get that on the road, there's a lot of times where you can get some custom vehicles for $1,000 and $1,200 a month. And you think about what a billboard costs and so you think about that long-term investment. Is it worth it? But there's a lot of times where you can get crazy and unique and you can get people's attention. Depends on what you do, right? All depends on what you do. But if I'm a plumbing company, man, I'm getting wrap trucks on the road. I'm getting yard signs on the road. That's where I'm starting. Obviously, I'm doing the basics like Google SEO, but I'm getting stuff on the road. But the key, though, is when they see my wrap, when they see my yard sign, when they see it's tasteful. It's a good experience for them. Whether it be a fun cartoon on the side of the van that, I know a lot of you are like, oh, I'm never doing that. That's stupid. Okay, well, kids thinks it's awesome. And kids are the ones that get their parents' attention. And they're the ones that are pointing for them to things to look at while they're driving down the road. And so if you want them to see your brand, you want them to see you got to be disruptive. You got to stick out. It's got to be a good experience. There's a lot of ways to stick out. Some of them aren't good experiences. Some of you put some inappropriate things on your vehicles. And it's like, man, I don't want my kids to see that. And so then you start ruling out certain customers. And some of you might be like, well, I don't really care what they think. You should. It's your customer. And it's your reputation. So when you start thinking about it like that, it's like, okay, you're right. There's a reality that we've got to do a much better job at considering the customer journey when we're marketing. Okay, when we make that phone ring. And here's how we really make that phone ring. It's by making people know that we exist. No one's going to call if they don't know you exist. They're not calling the other company because that other company just has a hold on the market. No one has a hold on the market. Consumers lose confidence all the time in the companies they work with. New people become homeowners all the time. People buy old homes all the time. People sell homes with problems all the time. There's going to be work out there, and there's always going to be work. And so it's just a matter of, do you want to keep fighting in that red ocean? Do you want to keep staying where everyone else is at and fighting for the same leads and fighting for the same stuff? Or do you want to find a way to build that relationship in your market, become that 5-mile radius famous kind of company that everyone knows about, talks about, and likes? And you got to do that by thinking outside the box. You can't be like everyone else. You got to find a way to provide an experience even in the marketing. One great example would be like when you do community events. How do you do community events? Are you handing out stickers? Are you giving out people free water samples for your cool new softener product? That stuff don't work. I mean, that's cool. That works a little bit, but not it's not sticky. It's not disruptive. You got to find a way to keep making your booth. You got to find a way to make them have a good experience. It's not about the service that you provide. It's about the experience that you can give them. And when I say not the service you can provide, I'm not talking about servicing them in that moment. I'm talking about whatever product or service you provide, whatever you sell. It ain't about that in those moments. Because at that time, they're not looking to replace their water heater. They're probably not looking to get their roof replaced. They might be in the market for that. They might not. They might be in the market for that tomorrow and don't know it yet. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you got to find a way to make an impact on them to where they feel like, wow, you were advocating for them. That's the key right there. If I boil it all, strip it all down, you got to be an advocate for your community. You got to be an advocate for your tribe. I heard that back 2019 at a Funnel Hacking Live event. Stacy something. Sorry, Stacy Martinelli. Sorry, Stacy. I remember that. But she was on stage. I don't know her, but I just remember she was on stage and she talked about that, advocating for your tribe. And it's so important, advocating for your tribe. It's what we try to do. It's what we want you to do. What are you spending on marketing making ROI? When it comes to marketing, too, that spend, you got to be careful because At the end of the day, you're trying to keep that spend around 10% or lower. I like to see 8%. I can see you could get it really low. It really just comes, honestly, what it comes down to is how high can you get your average ticket. That's with anything because it's all a percentage of spend. So it's all about how high you can get that average ticket and then how low you can get your cost per lead. And sometimes some people try to get their cost per lead by buying cheap leads, and other people get their cost per lead down by getting referrals and getting repeat business because those are free. There's a couple of different ways that you can spend the big money on the leads. In fact, Russell Brunson says that the person that can spend the most on a lead wins. And he's not saying the person that goes out and blows the most money on the lead wins. He's saying the person that turns the lead into the most can then spend the most to buy the lead because it's all about percentage. So if your cost per acquisition, your marketing spend was 10% and mine was 10%, but my ticket average was $1,500. That means I can spend $150 to get a lead, and your ticket average is $500. You can only spend $50 to get a lead. We all know it's hard to get $50 leads. Doesn't matter what you do. I don't care what you do. It's hard to get $50 leads. Okay, the first one is marketing. The marketing, making the phone ring, the experience they have. Not only that, even when they make that first contact with your company, however that is, whether that's some website, you sell some product or service on the internet or website, or you're a plumber or you're a home service provider and they're calling and talking to a live human, hopefully a live human, a CSR of somebody. I know a lot of people are using AI. That's great. It's wonderful as long as that customer experience isn't affected. I get it that it can do the job. It's functional. Might even save you some money. Might be able to do it the same way every time. But is it really, truly giving the customer the best experience? And if it's doing that, wonderful. It's like they always say the chef should taste their own food. Well, you should go through your own experience to see how it is. And what's that like for the customer? What's that like for the customer? All right, the second one that I want to talk to you guys about is converting the call. Okay, this is sales. Marketing then sales. Okay, now this third one that I talk about here in a little bit it's going to be different than marketing sales, but it's going to tie back into marketing somehow. I'll show you how in just a second. I think it's phenomenal because the whole thing is a customer journey. It's a loop. And when you think about things like follow-ups and you think about all that kind of stuff, which is a part of sales, that's even beyond what I talk about here in a minute. It's really mind-blowing when you think about the psychology of how this all ties together. Because if we'll talk about service plumbing for a second. If you go to a home and the customer has had little to no interaction with the company up to that point, you're basically knocking on a front door, and in 30 minutes you're going to be breaking down. Like, it's $300, $400, $500, maybe a couple $1,000, maybe $30,000. Depends on what we're talking about, what we find, what happens. And the customer has no real time to process that or navigate that. And so that's not a great experience. And then we can talk about quality control. We talk about who went. Maybe there's 20 trucks or 30 trucks of that company. And so it's 20 to 30 different potential experiences a customer can have on any given day, depending on which technician comes into the home. And if there's no real focus on pricing, if there's no real focus on quality control, then the pricing could be different across the board. And it is a lot of companies, unfortunately. If that tech goes out, the water heater's $3,500. If that tech goes out, the water heater's $2,800. If that tech goes out, the water heater's $3,200. They're all at the same company. And this happens with just about any product or services out there that's not watched and carefully controlled and monitored. And there's just sometimes not an interest in that. When I went to Bradford White water heaters just a week ago or 2 weeks ago, one of the things that really impressed me with them is their commitment to quality control. They had multiple stations in their facility, in their building, in their manufacturing plant. And we went there and watched them actually weld the water heater, the steel tanks together. It was crazy. It was awesome. It was sick to watch how the whole process went together. It was a whole thing. A lot of people, a lot of machines. But the amount of area that they dedicated to quality control, I was just thinking to myself as a business person, like, man, that's a lot of money that they could be making if they dedicated that to making more water heaters. But they don't. They dedicate it to destroying their water heaters so they can see if they're built right. What a great job. What a great dedication to quality. And in sales, it's the same thing. It's a part of the customer experience. Not only does the quality control have to be there for how our marketing is and how our messaging is and how people perceive us before they ever call us. What are they seeing? How are they seeing it? But also then when they experience the actual purchasing of our product or service, what's that experience like? And how is that going? Is it easy? Is it enjoyable? Is it difficult? Is it complicated? Is it salesy? Is it service? Do I feel Do I feel educated? Do I feel helped? Is my confidence high? All of that matters when you're buying something. I remember buying our Tesla. Me and my wife each have a Tesla. Don't judge. And I did have a diesel truck before that, just so I can play both sides here real quick. But I really did. And I'm probably going back to the diesel truck. So to all the diesel people. But anyways, I have this Tesla, and when we went, she loved it because you just get on the app, you find the car, you click the buttons, you fill out the little thing, click the next button. They say you're approved. They ship the car. You go pick it up. You just walk in, click some buttons, get in, you leave. The whole time I just wanted a human. The whole time I was buying mine on my phone, I hated it. I was like, man, this sucks. I was like, I can't. I just want to talk to someone. I just want to make sure that the one that they just showed me in full detail is the one that they actually are showing me in full detail. I'm just like, I don't trust humans. I don't trust salespeople. I know you're all like, but you're the plumbing. I don't trust salespeople. That's why I care so much about the customer experience, because I want to make sure people have a good experience. And when I found out about plumbing, I was like, holy moly, that's such an expensive service and product and solution. A lot of times, there should be somebody with the oversight, making sure people have a good experience all the way through. That's why I fell in love with that. But even roofing, restoration, doesn't matter. My wife goes to get her nails done. That's expensive if you think about what's happening right there. But they're worth it. It's worth it. But if the experience is good, there's this big argument and debate going around. The real estate agents make too much. You think about them, and it's like, no, they don't. No one makes too much. Everyone makes what they deserve, as long as you, as the consumer, get a good return on investment. And part of that return on investment, a lot of that return on investment, is how it made you feel more than it is what it did for you. And it all comes down to the customer experience. All comes down to the customer experience. 180 trucks, advertising radio, spend more in advertising than you think you should and more than you did. Yeah, it'll happen. Especially with 180 trucks, because I feel like if most companies that I would see in that range, you're having to make the phone ring a good 300, 400, 500 times a day. And so that's going to require a decent sized market or multiple small markets pieced together. And it just ends up being a lot. And I see the effort. It's like, man, you're trying to stay up with all the changes and all the times, but nothing beats a good reputation. Nothing beats a good reputation. Nothing. Because what ends up happening is that even when the Google algorithm changes, no matter what people, once they remember your number, once they're a part of your system, if you've got a service agreement or you got some sort of ongoing follow-up system, so they don't have to remember you. Like if you got that machine going, no matter what you do, think about that for a minute. If it's a good experience for the customer too, like meaning your follow-ups are based on service, not sales, and you understand that people are going to have more problems, so you just keep following up and servicing them, and then they eventually, when they have a problem, boom, you're right there. Man, that's hard. It's hard to get slow when that happens, because there's only so much people can do to stop their problems from coming back. I can not have money all I want, but every once in a while I gotta buy shoes. I gotta get a haircut. There's things I gotta do. And again, like I said, it's a wide range. Budgets will determine things. Some people buy their own clippers to cut their own hair, and some people go to the barber. Some people go to the barber a little less frequently. Some people find a cheaper barber. But it all just comes down to the experience. What's the return on investment? What do people value? Okay, and so the sales portion of this, the converting of the call, it's everything, right? Because it sets the tone. First of all, like I said, the marketing sets the tone for the sales. I already said that before. Think about that. The marketing sets the tone for the sales. And I'll tie all this together here at the end. I want to tie it all together for you guys and make sure that it makes sense. So no matter what you do, you can apply this. But the marketing sets the tone for everything else. The marketing sets the tone for the sales, and then the sales sets the tone for everything after the sale. Because a lot of times I think people make this huge mistake of becoming a sales company, and then you never actually deliver on your product. You never actually service your customer, and you get this bad rap and this bad reputation. And that can look a lot of different ways. We're going to get into that. That can look a lot of different ways. Okay, tonight we're talking about this overarching framework. There's this idea that the customer experience itself will raise your average ticket, will raise your average transaction in your company or your product or your service, or if you're in anything related to dealing with people making decisions on spending money with you or your company. This is how you do it right here. And experience, even if I take the word customer out, experience can go so many ways, right? Your technical experience, your diagnosing experience, your relational building skills experience, all those different experiences can raise your ability to then provide a great experience, customer experience, and therefore raising your ticket average, because you'll come across more professional. You'll come across more trustworthy. You'll come across more confident. You'll come across more uh, knowledgeable in a way to where the customer can understand what's going on and make a good, sound decision. People will spend money on things if they understand the decision they're making, if they feel and trust that they're going to get a great experience, that they're going to get a good solution. They're going to get a good return on their investment. All those things absolutely will affect their pre-mental state in making that decision. It's no different than when you date someone and you decide if you want to marry them or not, or you ask them to marry you, or get married, or be asked to marry. All those things. We're all looking for a return on investment. Every decision we make, everything we do. Make no mistake about that. So the first piece is marketing. This is that first touch, those first impressions, that first moment that they interact with your brand. What are you telling them? What are you saying? What's the experience they're having? Do you look cheap, feel cheap, smell cheap, sound cheap? You know, what are you doing here? What are you communicating? Because it's going to affect the second one, which is sales, which is converting the call. So you make the phone ring, then you convert the call. That's the 1-2 punch in any business. Every successful business can do those two things. If you can do those two things, then you have money to make up for the mistakes on the third thing and the fourth thing and the fifth thing. But the third thing, the one I want to dive into last here, is delivery. Delivering the experience, delivering the service, delivering the solution, delivering the product, delivering whatever it is that you promised them. It's almost like that old saying of under promise, over deliver. And it's coming in and wowing the customer. And that concept that I just said of the marketing and what are the expectations you're setting for the sales team? What is the expectations the sales team setting for the delivery of the product? What are they saying? How many people have bought something and been grossly disappointed because of the way that the salesperson presented it? How many of you, let me know right now, are you that person? Has it happened to you? Has it ever happened to you? Let me know in the comments right now. Have you ever been in a situation where you bought something and you were really disappointed because they kind of, made it sound better than it really was? Okay, listen, this is really important. How many of you have been in this situation where you've had a salesperson promise something and it was grossly overpromised? Yes, 100%, yes. Deliver comfort to the customer that you're the one to believe in. Love that. Yes, 100%. People are agreeing left and right. It's happened to all of us. Yes, absolutely, over on YouTube. Buyer's remorse is what you get. That's right. That's right. But the delivery right here, delivering the experience, man, I can't tell you how many times I've been let down. Now, one thing that I do find interesting is that if the marketing is done right and the front end experience is done well and the salesperson is genuine and honest and the company makes a mistake on the delivery, I'm a lot more graceful than if the first two experiences don't go well. Like if I don't have a good experience on the marketing and I don't have a good experience on the sales, I got zero grace for the delivery. There's just certain things I don't have high hopes for. But man, if you don't get that delivery right and you somehow kind of gave me a runaround on the sales side of things, man, you better get the delivery right. I'm telling you, I got no grace for it. Look, this delivery is so crucial. I think a lot of people miss this, and I want to tie it back into the first point I was making here in just a second. Get sticky, Preston says. Yeah, I like that. Get sticky with your brand. Be sticky. Make sure that people see you. Make sure that people remember you. Make sure they have a positive experience when they do. Make sure that it's long-lasting. It's relational. Okay, then when you do that, then that sets a tone. That sets a tone and an expectation. And if you land on that expectation, it becomes a lot easier for whoever it is to then present their solutions. As long as they maintain and honor the integrity of that relationship that's now being developed, you can go in that home and you can talk about things. You can go wherever, plumbing, roofing. Again, doesn't matter what you do, real estate. You own that customer forever. And they may not do it today. They might do it tomorrow. They might do it now. They might do it next time. They might not never do it. But you're going to be able to take them as far as possible, and they're going to spend the most they were ever going to spend. And it's not about making money off of them, but all I mean is their consumer confidence is going to be at the highest maximum peak, so they're going to be more trustworthy. And they're going to be more open to your solutions and whatever situations that whatever problems you're solving. And so this just opens up the ability and door for you to build on that. And from there, it's magic, because at that point, you, again, with honesty and integrity, you have the ability to go in and provide some recommendations. When you can provide recommendations, now you start getting into that forever solution kind of mentality. Like, I can solve your problem for today, I can solve it for tomorrow, I can solve it for forever. And when you get into those forever solutions, you might say like, look, Your old toilet's failing on you, but you got three toilets. We can do all three. Hey, you've got, whatever going on with your water heater, but it's already 12 years old. I recommend replacing it. And have you ever thought about Tankos? You ever thought of upgrading? You'd be a good candidate. If that's all true and that's all real, whatever situation you want to make up in your head, then that is going to prime the pump for you to be able to actually have a platform to speak on that. Because if you don't have the platform to speak on the solutions, there's no way that they're ever going to be able to spend money because you're never really going to be able to get into the value of those solutions. And I mean, literally, no one's going to buy anything they don't value. No one's going to do it. No one does it. No one ever will do it. There's a few of you. There's a few of you that will do it. I'm one of them. I have this funny story I always tell, and a lot of people have like to laugh at me about it. My son, who I think is one of his favorite stories that I tell, is that we went to Kings Island. Went to Kings Island. I bought season passes for me and my two sons. I've got 8 kids, but 2 of my sons, thrill seekers. We like the fast roller coaster. We like all the stuff. So I got us a couple passes to Kings Island. When you go to Kings Island, it's basically like $69 to get in, $79 to get in, or it's $99 for a season pass. So I'm like, well, why wouldn't you just get the season pass? So we buy 3 season passes. We go to Kings Island, but we get to go the day before Kings Island opens because it's season pass holder day. I'm thinking there's not going to be anyone there. They only open for 5 hours. I'm like, we're just going to ride probably 20 roller coasters 20 times. It's going to be nonstop pandemonium fun. We get there, and there's a lot more people than I expected. There's still major lines. So we get in this one roller coaster line. It's like 45 to 55 minutes line wait. And I'm like, no, wait, I'm not doing this. So I get on my phone and I look up, like, what can we do? Well, it was $125 for a fast pass. I'm like, I'm not spending $125 for a fast pass when I've got $100. By the way, I didn't just spend $100. What ended up happening was, yeah, these flashed them up here. I got the $100 one, but then if you do it for all the parks, all the Cedar Fair parks at this point, particular time of my life, for another $100, now it's $200 a person. So we were at $200 a person at this point. So it already kind of got me on the customer journey. You know what I mean? So we're at $600 for 3 people for a season pass to all these places. Well, now I'm looking up fast pass and it's $125 more dollars, and I'm like, $125 more dollars on, basically $200 for the season, but it's for 5 hours. I don't see the value there. I'm not going to spend another $125 for 5 hours of fast pass. But for $999 for the season, bingo, season fast pass, all park add-on, all the parks, everywhere we go, and not a big deal. But the Fast Pass Plus, what the little thing about that is when you go to Cedar Point, we were at Kings Island. Cedar Point is another one of the parks that's a part of this little racket. That's what we'll call it, racket. Yeah, it's all these guys. Now it's even more than that. I think they just partnered with Six Flags, so it's even more than that. But this is what my options were. This is the value stack that got me. And at Cedar Point, they have the Fast Lane Plus. So for $1,000, I got it. That means I can do there's no roller coasters that are left out of this. So basically, for $3,600, I got season passes with shortcuts, line cuts, and even though looking back, I'm like, I know how it all happened emotionally, and there was no salesperson. It wasn't at like a booth where they were talking me into this. I was talking myself into this on my phone by myself, and I did not contact my wife. That is probably the worst part of the whole story. You'll want to contact your spouse in moments like this. Because when I got home, she was like, how much was it? I don't understand. So we had to do the math. It was a lot of math. I had to explain. I was like, we got to carry the one. So anyways, this stuff happens. It's life. Look, how does this stuff happen though? And looking back, I'm not even mad about it. I would do it again. I'd do it again because I got value out of that. I didn't want to spend money. I didn't want to stand in line. I didn't want to spend time in line. I don't like lines. Not a big fan of line. Look, what we're talking about tonight is the customer experience in the journey. And what I'm really saying is it all matters. And when you get to the end and you deliver a great product, when you have a good experience, you tell others. When you have a bad experience, you tell others. When you have an experience, you tell others. When it's lukewarm, nothing really happened. I don't hear a lot of people sitting around talking about their Chili's, their night out at Chili's. No offense, Chili's. I like your ribs. Baby back, baby back. I like them. But at the end of the day, no one's really talking about that. No one's like, yeah, last night, dude, went to Applebee's, was so amazing. Let me tell you all about it. No one's doing that. Now, they might be talking about this once in a lifetime steak they got, Wagyu, or they might be talking about this once in a lifetime, experience. They went going to another country or going on a cruise or doing something. Like one time I went in a stunt plane. Now, when I was telling people, it was a psychiatrist afterwards because I had to get my mind right after that. It was a stunt plane. I almost lost my life 12 different times. I rethought my life probably 34 times on that plane, and I'm still not right ever since that moment. That was an experience. And you see how experience can shape and affect people. And so, in all seriousness, all jokes aside, the experience the customer has will absolutely determine the endorphins, serotonin, the chemicals in their body that are releasing that naturally get them to be excited, naturally get them to tell others, naturally get them to tell the world. Boom, right here. Customer experience raises your ticket average. The customer experience raises your average transaction. The customer experience allows you to generate more revenue for the same commodity that the next guy's doing. I heard this best once at a conference, and Russell Brunson was leading the conference, and he had a babysitter come up on stage just to make this simple point. The babysitter came up on, and he said, who would pay this babysitter $30 an hour? And it was like, none of us would pay this babysitter $30 an hour. So this was a few years ago. This was about 5 or 6 years ago. So maybe nowadays we would, but we're like, none of us would say that, right? So it's like, okay, what would the babysitter do? And blah, blah, blah. And he starts going, okay, what can we do to raise the value? And he starts asking her, what are the concerns of the customer? And she's like, well, they want to know, like, if the house is going to be clean when they get home. So he's like, all right, what could you do? She's like, well, I can clean the house. She's like, I can even take a picture of me doing the dishes after dinner. I can take a picture of me doing dinner. I can show the kids eating dinner. And it's like, boom. Now the homeowner's like a little more confident, like, okay, now I know what's going on in my home while I'm gone with my kids, because these are our most prized possession. Then it's like, well, I can do an activity with them. Then I can take a picture and send the activity. I can even do video chats. And I'm just like, you are making a mom's dream right now, like a mom and a dad going out on a dinner date or a night out. I've got 8 kids. I know the stress that comes with leaving the kids at home, and with not strangers, but everyone's a stranger at that point if it's not you watching your own kid. And so you start taking, and he's doing this thing, and by the time he gets done, he's like, crap, I'd pay this girl $50 an hour. Like, I want to hire her full time, lock her down. No one else can use her for babysitting, because the value just became so immense, because the experience was going to be so great. I paid more to go to Disney World. My wife just bought tickets for all of us to go. Me and my wife and one of my daughters are going to go down there here in just a couple of days. We're going to be down there for 3 days. It costs an arm and a leg and then half my right kidney. And it's like, man, this stuff's expensive. These places are expensive, and I'm just like, I can't wait to go. I'm just like, did you buy the tickets? Did you spend the money? Let's go. Did we get the stuff? Let's go. I was in charge of getting airline tickets, so I got airline tickets last night at like 1:30 in the morning. That's a long story, but anyways, I was getting airline tickets. It's just like, man, this is fun. I can't wait. What else we got to spend our money on? And it's not that we don't respect money, because we can spend that money on anything. But man, I really enjoyed the experience. I enjoyed the experience of even buying it and thinking about what's going to happen, because the last time I was there, I had a good time. And so now I got testimony, I got a story, and it excites me to go back and repeat. Same with when I tell others about it. Like I'm telling you about it right now. I'm like, man, it's fun. I enjoy it. We put it on repeat. And if you just keep thinking about how that process, that customer journey goes, my customer journey never ends when it comes to Disney for me. Unless I lose the experience, unless I lose the value. So here's the big takeaway. Here's the final takeaway. Okay, kind of here's what it all comes down to. The product is the stage, service is the song. The product is the stage, service is the song. And when you think about it like that, it's like, okay, the only reason why I'm interacting with somebody is because the product, is because of the solution, the problem that they initially had, and the product that I offer that solves that problem. That's the only reason why I'm encountering this human. That's the only reason why I'm dealing with this person. If you're a realtor, most likely you're only dealing with people in the sense of business because they're buying or selling a home. If you're a plumber, the only reason why you're dealing with someone typically when it comes to business is because they have a plumbing problem. And so, and then when we get called out on calls that aren't even plumbing problems, we oftentimes will then go, okay, this is a non-opportunity. Like this was not a real call. And it's not because those aren't real humans. It's just we weren't the right solution. So it wasn't the right thing. So when you think about it like that, it's like, okay, the problem is just the stage. When you think about a concert, the location is just the stage. We all go to that amphitheater. We all go to that arena, we all go to that concert hall because that's where the stage is. But we're there for the musician. We're there for the music. We're there for the song. So in this case, the product is the stage and service is the song. Service is what will create the experience. The experience is what will create the value. The value will then be what determines the decision. Because if the value is high enough and the price is low enough, not discounted, and it's not because we lowered our price, it's because we raised our value. And then that's how you can raise the ticket average. That's how you can raise the average transaction. And the good thing about it is you can charge a lot of money and feel good about it because you provide a good result for people. Give people a return on their money and they will give you their money. It's that simple. Guaranteed, promise, every time, all the time. For everyone that's ever been in our program, they know we don't do contracts because we don't need contracts, because we'll keep you because of the value. We'll get you a result. One of my sales reps on my team came up and asked me, it's actually one of my other sons, and he says, hey, Dad, this person's on the phone. They said they just want to know what separates us. And I said, well, we get results. That's why we don't do contracts. It's just that simple. For me, it's just all about result. It's all about return on investment. It's all about the value I can bring with someone before they buy from me, when they buy from me, and after they buy from me. I love you. Remember to always serve your community and everything, not just plumbing. Have a great night, everyone. Fresh.